Machine Gun Kelly, usually a rapper, now in the business of rock, just released a great rock record. It's getting rave reviews and selling like crazy. I'm going to tell you why this is great news for rock. Plus, to celebrate the album, he apparently smashed out his friend's windshield. We'll show you that. Plus, Slipknot vocalist Corey Taylor says Slipknot is already planning and thinking about their next album, despite only recently releasing We Are Not Your Kind. We got a lot to get to today. Stick with us.
Feed needs you to subscribe right now with notifications on so that we may enjoy a plethora of subscribers. Say 1 million perhaps? No? Yes.
Whoop whoop. Every time I see that, I move closer and closer to becoming a full-blown juggalo every day. Listen to the man. He's right. You got to subscribe and support this channel. All right, folks, before we get to this MGK story, I want to talk about Slipknot and Corey Taylor. This is your daily dose of Slipknot news from Not Feed or whatever you want to call this channel. I see your comments, and I don't appreciate them. I'm just kidding. All right, listen. Corey Taylor had his Forum or Against Him live show last night at the Forum, and it was very, very good. And promoting his new solo release, which just dropped yesterday, Corey is being asked about all sorts of things. So there's Corey Taylor Mania. Don't get mad at me. He's on a press run right now. He's one of the biggest names in rock, so we're going to talk about him. And he is discussing the follow-up to Slipknot's album, We Are Not Your Kind. And he says the band is actually, I think due to this pandemic, already kicking around ideas for this next release, which is very, very good news. Here's what he said during the interview. Appearing on That Jameson Show, Corey said, "I was just talking to Clown the other day about what we should, because we're obviously thinking about what the next album could be." And he's in this trippy place, dude, which is rad. I love it when he's in this crazy mindset because I know I'm going to hear stuff that I've never heard before. He's so goddamn creative, and that inspires Jim, and all the tumblers really start to fall. So it's pretty rad. And obviously this album, We Are Not Your Kind, which came out last year, it sold 118,000 copies in its first week. It was one of the top selling records of 2019. That shows you that rock isn't dead. And I'll have more to share about that here in a little while, talking about MGK. But Corey also, again, just released his new record, CMFT. It's a solo record, though he does have a backing band consisting of Jason Christopher on bass, Dustin Schoonhofer on drums, Zach Throne, and Kristen Martucci on guitar. So yes, Slipknot does have some plans in the works. It's obviously very much in the early stages, but I would imagine the fact that they're not able to tour would lend to some of their creativity and give them the juices to start working on new material. And let's just be real here. In 2020, in the modern age of recording music, musicians are always demoing things. The guys that I know in bands, they're always recording at their home studio, behind the scenes, messing around with stuff. I'm not even a real musician, and I'm working on stuff for fun. So yeah, I would imagine they've got some ideas they're kicking around if I had to guess. So that is always wonderful to hear. And moving on, I want to talk about the band El Nino. I've been listening to them a lot lately. Me and my friend Andrew from The Ghost Inside are always rocking out to El Nino, and we just love that band, and they're, some of my favorite records they've released. And so El Nino, though, there has been a fracture among the members of the band. They had some sort of a dispute. And so basically Christian, the band's longtime frontman, his signature vocals lended on their music. He ended up departing the band along with two guitarists also leaving the band. And their drummer, Dave Shivari, and Lazara Pina have stayed in the band, and they had a settlement where they were able to resolve things earlier this year. So anyways, the point of it all is that I don't think that El Nino is going to sound like El Nino without Christian, and he's such an important figure of the band's sound. He's a difficult guy to replace, no disrespect to the other guys. But anyways, Christian and the two guitarists of El Nino, absent from their drummer now, are working on a project of their own, which in my opinion will probably sound more so like that sound of Il Nino that you've come to love. Anyway, so he revealed that they are working on this project. I'm hoping for some big rock bangers, some heavy breakdowns, but some great typical Il Nino choruses. He says, we absolutely are working on a new project. I haven't talked about it at all publicly, and it's something that we're not really in a rush to prove anything to anybody, but we do have almost half an album finished. It's phenomenal. The songs are phenomenal. We're trying to write a metal album, clearly, but it's full of hit singles. That's promising. It's a challenging thing to do, but we'll take our time. He goes on and continues, but we'll keep an eye out for that. Again, I just wanted to shout out Christian. His music is fantastic. Keep an eye out for that project. I'm looking for some Il Nino vibes, baby. All right, so let's talk about MGK, Machine Gun Kelly. You typically know him as a hip-hop artist, but he has been delving heavily into rock, and sometimes when this is done, it's like a gimmick. But in this case, in my opinion, it's not a gimmick. It's like a great pop punk album. It's like a great A Day to Remember record, distorted guitars. And it's interesting because you have one of the biggest people in all of hip hop who literally was embroiled in a high profile feud with Eminem. You have him releasing guitar oriented music, like full blown rock, which in turn, if it was going to sell well, then it was going to get the attention of labels. All they understand is how can we make money? What's the trend? What's the thing we can make a big buck off of and, ride the coattails on? And so this album did sell incredibly well. It did rank, I think it came out at #1 on the charts. And, so it was released last week. And so we got the numbers and it was amazing. And you see Rolling Stone has a headline that says Machine Gun Kelly reinvents himself as a pop punk whiner, and it works. So he's getting rave reviews for this record, and it's really good because what you're going to see is, and I know that you're thinking out there, I don't need rappers singing rock music. I understand your point of view there. What I'm saying is that these labels are going to start looking at the real rock bands that are already there and maybe start reinvesting in them again. You're going to see mainstream media maybe start paying attention to them again, and that equals more dollars for your favorite band, which equals better music videos, better album production, better investment in younger bands who get a chance to grow, better touring opportunities, better touring packages, better sets and pyro when you go see these bands live. So it's very interesting to see how this could kind of trickle down for other artists that are in the industry. I'm hoping people are paying attention to what MGK is doing, and I would encourage you to go listen to his album and give him a shot because it does sound good. Now, nonetheless, MGK is a legitimate crazy person, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible. This dude is nuts. He's batshit crazy. You never know what he's going to do. He's unpredictable, and that is one of the things that makes him special because you don't have many real rock stars anymore. You don't have that volatility. It's very predictable. You have a lot of rock stars that are, they have the douchebag good boy haircut like I do, and they're out there, being jolly and wonderful. And you have MGK, and you can't tell half the time if he's gonna, come and shake your hand or punch you in the face. And there is something, whether you agree or not, there is something that is unique about that, and it draws more people in. It's like, oh, this is crazy. It's like watching the UFC. You never know what's going to happen. It's so unpredictable. And so anyways, MGK's Tickets to My Downfall rather, this record could be a helpful push and a nudge in the right direction, or it could be a big nudge in the right direction for guitar-oriented rock music, and they could push us back to the forefront. I don't know how much this trickles down to metal, but I could see, some pop punk artists getting some better looks, some better tours, and certainly if I was in a rock band and MGK offered me to go and tour with him, I would happily do it. So anyways, to celebrate this record, MGK was out on the town with his friend Mod Sun, and he owes him a new windshield because this crazy person, MGK, bashed out his friend's windshield. This is what happened. Look at this. Now it's a true convertible. That's all he was doing, is he was trying to get some fresh air into the car, and You know, it looks like they're driving a G-Wagon, which is like $120,000 vehicle. So I imagine a typical windshield's like a couple $100, but there's probably like little dinosaur shavings in there and like little golden, I don't know. What's the stuff they put in the, some of the vodka? They put like little gold shavings, things like that to charge you extra money to make it seem like it's more expensive than it really is. So yeah, that's going to cost. I imagine that MGK won't have a problem paying for it, though. I'm sure the dude's doing pretty well. So yeah, congratulations to MGK. Thank you for what you're doing for rock music. A rising tide lifts all boats. Again, if you personally, I know some people, I don't like it. That's irrelevant. It's a good thing that people are paying attention and supporting rock music. At least recognize that that is something that is good. A rising tide lifts all boats, and I'm happy for him. So anyways, folks, that is all for now. Thanks so much for joining us today at Rockfeed. Again, be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on breaking news and updates. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you all very soon.